What's up, fellow internet inhabitants? It's Yusuf Richardson, your gym BFF, back with Higher Up Wellness. Michael Smoke here with the Fit Friend, Fat Friend show podcast. This is turning into a show. I think we're talking nuts. People are listening. Hello. First and foremost, we really appreciate you joining, and we could not express our gratitude and the joy that we get from this any more than we possibly could, other than just showing up for number 3 again.
And if you stay till the end, we are starting a tradition here where we do hashtag step check. I promise we're going to make it sweep the nation. It's going to be all over TikTok and Twitter. So if you hang out till the end, me and Yusuf will share our step checks and see where we are in our day in the steps, given we're in a little bit of a different time zone. But I may be a little ahead because it's dinner time here, but drop your
My watch
steps in the
died
comments. Oh no, you're in yeah,
earlier.
you're
Oh,
screwed.
fuck.
Okay, you're
Earlier.
screwed then. So drop your steps in the comments at the end of the episode, and thanks for hanging out with us to the end if you do.
We have got 10 fitness commandments equally as these kind of 10 fitness
Say
sins.
the word.
Oh God, I would have never been. I'm not going to go with the religious thing, but I never would have guessed that we could connect it. But here we are. Anyway, without further ado, let's just roll right into it. Michael, do you want to preface before we start?
I think if you take one thing from this episode, it's that if you follow these rules, if you build the framework for your life around these rules, whatever goal you have, muscle gain, fat loss, you want to get bigger, you want to get leaner, you'll get there if you just let this framework be the foundation of your physical wellness understanding. So hit him with the first commandment.
Number one. I want bells. Brr, 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 brr. No, let's say number one. Number one. So we're gonna start with the inverse. What's the sin? The sin for number one. Also, one quick disclaimer: we're gonna break these into categories, and we're gonna start with actually 3 fitness sins and truths, 3 nutrition sins and truths, and then 3 mindfulness sins and truths, and then one kind of big one at the end that we'll use to leap us forward for next episode. So, fitness sin number 1 is be a passenger in your own fitness program. That means if there's a class schedule, there's a workout program, you don't do any investigation, you don't have any genuine interest in it, you just trust what's going on, and you go, what program should I do? I don't know. Like, it's a lot like asking, what car should I drive? Like, maybe have some individuality with it. Like, it's really personal preference. So what's the opposite of being a passenger in your fitness? But most importantly, why could it be detrimental? I would say most people have their own unique flavors of fitness. Pilates might be a hit for you, but it might not be for me. Maybe I like yoga, but I won't know unless I actually ask, what do I like? What's my preference? What do I want for me? So the opposite of this fitness sin number 1, be a passenger in your own training program, is be intentional, be purposeful, be interested in your own personal training program. Ask questions in it. Want to learn more. Most importantly, set measurable goals that you can begin to measure yourself against. Intend results for yourself. Intend specific results for yourself, in fact. There's this great phrase, compliance is the best science. And what do you comply to? Shit that you like. You're more likely off to actually achieve it and do it and sustain it if you like it and enjoy it.
Bingo.
Number 2,
Number 2, deciding to stay on the couch, stay at the desk, or stay in the bed. What does that mean? That's a short, choppy sentence with not a lot of context. So let's break it down. I had a personal training client talk to me about this the other day. They have a slam-packed calendar in a 9 to 5 job, and they may only have 14 minutes. They may only have 9 minutes between calls, and then they've got to jump straight to taking care of the kids. So the picture I'm painting here, if you can't get that now, is we may feel like oftentimes throughout the day it's too late, or we're beat from the afternoon we had and we just want to sit on the couch, or we just want to climb in the bed, or we've only got 15 minutes until that next call. So what's the inverse of that, or what's the commandment side of that rather? Well, you could realize that every minute counts. I talked about this briefly in a post the other day where the smaller you break things down and the more you look at days from a minute to minute perspective, when you realize that every minute counts, you can truly start to stack wins. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had no more than 15 minutes between all of my calls for the day job. Well, I took 3 11-minute walks. Now, at the end of the day, that was 33 minutes worth of walking that I otherwise wouldn't have had if I just accepted the state that I was in of I don't have the time to get outside and move my body a little bit. So when you have 8 minutes for a meeting, it's absolutely worth, between meetings rather, it's absolutely worth hopping outside, getting some fresh air for 8 minutes, and getting your blood flowing. There's just no world where that doesn't make perfect sense. And then you can come back to your desk refreshed, feeling good, and ready to start whatever you have next facing you in your day. Maybe you get to the end of the workday and it's 5:30 and you're beat. I promise you, energy feeds energy. If you go out and move a little bit, you won't feel quite as beat. So the sin that you can commit and the unfortunate outcome is staying sedentary, is staying lazy, and not finding the time to move. You don't find time, you make time. So that's number two. You want to hop into number three?
Actually, you gave me so much relief. This makes a lot of sense. All my exes said that like my best times around was 2 minutes. So thank you for that. The third sin in fitness for this episode is expect immediate, obvious physical results that are similar to that of him or her on Instagram with no context. Definitely don't consider the fact that there's so many things that we have eaten over time that may be different than someone else. And also, a lot of our lifestyle choices are rated than someone else's. And without context, what this can lead someone to is disappointment and regret, which is what all these sins ultimately are telling of, and they want you to avoid. So, by far, number three, one of the deadliest, is expect similar visual and or mimicable results to that of some other person you see has been doing it for years with no context. Don't do it's I promise you, you're in your unique spot. That's the one thing we actually all have in common, is that we've all started from someplace completely unique to us right now, specifically. So what's the opposite? Is know that no matter where you are right now for your unique point in life, you can change for the positive. You can build muscle and burn body fat. In fact, on a daily basis, asterisks, so long as you upkeep your protein and sleep. But know that from today, right now, you can change and you can improve for the better. It's a fact.
An absolute fact. I think when we were building this list, I don't think I realized how important that one is. I think simply put, if you could summarize that into a statement, I think of the old if those of you that are listening, I'm a huge metaphor, simile, old adverb, proverb guy. I love the phrase comparison is the thief of joy. And
Mm,
Instagram fitness is the embodiment
yeah.
of comparison being the thief of joy. I see people wonder why they don't look like, Nick Bear, for example, who's absolutely massive but can run 60 miles in a week. Well, did you spend 10 years in a bodybuilding style training? No.
Mm,
So don't compare yourself. Don't compare your day 10 to someone else's day 2,500. That's what we're
fact.
saying.
And this goes
And
to other parallels too: business, lifestyles,
absolutely.
everything.
1,000%. 1,000%. And when we talk next, we shift into nutrition. We talk a little bit about the dietary side of things. We told you we'd break these into subcategories, and now we're going to move towards the dietary side of things and where we believe people get it wrong and where we can teach you to get it right. So why don't you jump into point number one for us?
Point number one. Oh, this is my favorite. This might be I think they're all my favorite, but this one hits. In the present moment, each time I say them, they're all going to be my favorite. Disclaimer. The first deadly sin of nutrition is don't worry. One day I'll be on this diet and it'll work for me. One day I'm going to do keto, or when I finish keto, I'm going to be done with it. The biggest, I'm going to steal your word from EP1. The biggest logical fallacy is that you're ever on or off of a diet and one day you'll be there. Everything you eat is diet. In fact, think that you can be on or off of a diet. Yeah, because like if you just close your eyes or close your ears and you put that same thing in your body, it doesn't count. It doesn't go towards nourishing your body, your muscles, your cells, or anything. No, 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 no. We're actually always on a diet, which is a good thing because it's actually very powerful. Why is that powerful? So this is where we go to the truth side of it. You personally and myself personally are all responsible for our tissue, for our cells, on a regular basis. We're never exempt from that, which is a good thing and a bad thing. That means you can constantly be building muscle and seeing progress and getting sexier and sexier as opposed to not. Imagine just be like, oh, a bodybuilder is like eating and eating. He's like, oh, I'm off my diet right now, but I'm not building muscle. It's like, no, he's always doing. He's always trying to improve and grow. He's like
That's a
always
good
trying.
way to put
It's a,
that.
it's like an athlete. It's like imagine a super athlete. Usain's like, no, 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 no. I'm trying to get slower this season. That's what I'm trying to do. No, like you are responsible And this is the cool part. We go into the truth as to what's the golden rule of this, which is that on a daily basis, you personally, me personally, listener, Michael, Yusuf, on a daily basis, we are responsible for intaking an adequate amount of protein, known as your daily minimum protein intake. And ideally, you should eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of minimum, at least pound of body weight or lean body weight on your body. At least your lean weight. Lean weight, what is that? Muscle, bones, tissue, organs. I'll do this one more time. What is that? Everything except for fat. You're going to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of everything on your body that isn't fat. Why? Because we don't need to nourish fat, but we need to nourish everything else that's alive on our body that's constantly working at our benefit right now. With that being said, the golden rule: 1 gram of protein per pound of everything that's not fat per day. One quick way you can calculate this: take your body fat percentage. I'll actually do this really quickly. Take your body fat percentage and your weight. So let's say I weigh 180, and I'm going to multiply it. Let's say I'm 25% body fat and I'm 180. 180 times 25. And that's how many pounds of fat you have in your body. Just don't eat that weight.
Yeah.
One more thing: palm sizes. I'm known for this specifically. Divide that number by 35. Why 35? If you divide, let's say my protein goal is 135, divided by 35, that's three, let's just say round it up to four, 3.5 to 4 palm sizes worth of lean meat on a daily basis. Oh, I can't get that. Protein shakes. You're totally fine. You could have each palm size serving of meat usually is 35 lean meat, 35 grams of protein per serving, per palm size serving. So if my protein goal is 135 divided by 35, I need 4 palm size servings of protein per day. If I can't get it, maybe let's say I can only get 2. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to slam 2 big fat protein shakes and hit my protein requirement.
Let's talk about the people who think they're in too big of a hurry to hit the palm size portion of protein. I love that rule, by the way, palm size portion. I totally stole that from you in a video before we linked up, and it totally went viral. So
No
thank you.
big deal. No biggie.
I did cite you. I did cite my sources for the record. So when we think about people that are in a rush, they're in a hurry, they've got kids, they've got a job. What is the suboptimal, undesirable outcome you can find yourself in there? Well, you're in a rush, and so what do? You opt for a box or bag that's totally void of protein and nutrients. The
Ooh.
people in the drive-through, the people that grab a bag of Cheez-Its and gummies for their kids because they just didn't have the time. That is the undesirable outcome. But what's the golden rule? What's the optimal outcome? What can you do instead? It's easy. It's not easy, but it's simple. You can prepare ahead of time. You can set yourself up. I'm a big believer in fail to plan, plan to fail. You can set yourself up with things like the
Ooh.
Fairlife Core Power Shakes. You can throw 8 in the fridge for the week. You can have protein powder on hand. So, I guarantee it is no quicker for you to grab a Cheez-It bag and gummies or hit a drive than it is to make a protein shake at your house.
Mm.
Or, God forbid, you get a little bit creative. I can't tell you how many times I had what I would call a bit of an odd, out of character meal because I knew it was going to help me track towards my goals. So I'll give you an example. I worked in an office for 3 years up until recently and typically had roughly an hour for lunch between meetings. Now, I could have easily gone to a drive through, still maybe made a decent choice, but a lot of times what I did, and what was oftentimes faster, was hit the nearest supermarket. For me, where I live, that's a Publix that was a quarter of a mile down the road. I would walk in there, I would grab a whole rotisserie chicken for a whopping $5.99. This was a different economic time. It may be $7.99 now. And I would grab a bushel of bananas, and that was easily 2 meals. I'd eat half the chicken, and I'd eat a banana or 2, and I was at, 50, 60 grams of protein with maybe 600, 650 calories, and I felt good after. I didn't eat the cheeseburger that made me lull and fall asleep at my desk. I felt good about what I was doing because I knew I was progressing towards my goals, and it tasted good. Is chicken and bananas a normal meal? No, it's a little odd. But if you're serious about hitting your goals and staying on track with your protein intake, you may have to do some things that are a bit unconventional sometimes, and that's okay. So you can either choose to be in a rush and fail to plan, or you can get creative and plan ahead and set yourself up for success. It's really that simple. And that, honestly, I think might be my favorite rule, either in
Mm-hmm.
the nutrition one, definitely, or overall. I think that is critical. It's all about, you know what this comes back to, man? everything we talk about is just being intentional. Like this much intention. Just for those of you listening on Spotify, I'm holding my fingers about an inch apart. Just a little bit intentional is the difference between success and failure in a lot of these scenarios.
There's an acronym I really like because of what you just said. It's like, oh, it's about being intentional. It's about being on and being present and doing it. And then people go, well, what about? And then they'll also say, like, well, what about? And they go, well, what about besides obvious exceptions? Which leads
Yes.
us into number 3. But what about my grandma's birthday for her turtle is this day, and we have a pizza party, and we're gonna throw back micheladas. Look, just be real. You want pizza. I want pizza. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm gonna say it, but I'm gonna factor it in. And I'm gonna be deliberate about it. Some people know, some people don't know. I got so petty in late 2022 that I would eat and factor in dessert because I'm a dessert whore. And my clients and my people and followers would go, "Oh, but he's eating it." It's like, wait. I'm actually planning this. This is actually factored in. This is intentional. I fit this because I looked at my diet as a whole and went, "Ooh, if I create space here, I can add this and I can enjoy it." I can get into a whole story about it. I'm going to spare a lot of the intimate details, but instead of going off the rails on special occasions, which is which leads to regret, which is what the sin is. We just don't want you guys to go, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have. I guess I'm off my diet. I guess I'm bound to be like this for forever." Because I don't think there's a possible time where I can go to a holiday and say no to everyone else's eating. Don't need to go that far. Pinky promise. You can simply factor these things in. Food is food, and you are you. Where it begins to start to get tricky is when the food enters you, aka eating, and who's eating it and what are you eating. The goal is to still be intentional about what you are eating. But I don't want you to manipulate your intention behind it and this and that. The days are just days, and you can fit in pizza, you can fit in ice cream, you can fit in crumble. I fit in 130 something crumble cookies in 130 days. I had one crumble cookie a night.
Wow.
Fun fact. People were like, "How'd you do it?" I planned for it. I hit my protein goal. I saved space. I ate mostly protein dominant earlier in the day, and then I saved my room for the higher calorie stuff that's going to put me to sleep for later when I wanted to go to sleep. I didn't need to be awake. I was just starting my day with crumble. And I wouldn't be able to focus. There's no way. So you can plan these things in. Plus, on special occasions, and maybe you can get into vacation because you travel actually a bit more than I do. Um, when you plan for these things, again, it's not that like one day you're off, one day you're wrong, one day you were bad, one day you cheated. I say I cheat on my diet. Did that link? You're always dieting. You're always dieting, and you can fit these things in. No food is good or bad. It's context and what you're eating and your intention behind it.
Yes. I think for those of you that didn't listen or may have zoned out while you were driving or doing whatever the hell it was you're doing while you're listening to us talk, please rewind and listen to what he shared. That is a pro hack. You can make this, you don't have to work for your diet. You can make your diet work for you. And that I think is a key. And I'm really glad you said that. And when you're traveling, take that strategy in, move when you can, get steps when you can, enjoy yourself and be present. Don't be a slave to it. Use what Yusuf just shared with you, and you'll be just fine, and you'll be tracking forward to whatever goal it is that you have planned for you. Shall we move into mindset?
Let's rock and roll. This is the deep territory. I love it.
We're going to lose some people here. Strap
Maybe.
in, folks.
Yeah, this is the part with fitness and nutrition. These are pretty standardized. Mindset is not. This is why it can get kind of steep sometimes. The mindset is the part that the conversation in our head that can be different for everybody. Number one for mindset is wherever I'm at, it's just where I am. It's just where I'm just one of these people. I'm just me, and I'm just not going to change. And what's the point of even doing it? That is where you, my friend, this is the best thing you can ever be wrong. This is the best thing you can ever be wrong about. Change is actually the only constant thing in the universe is change. Your energy, your atoms, your molecules are always changing, growing, and dying. The last thing you are is ever the same. No man crosses the same river twice, for he is not the same man, nor is it the same river. Same thing goes on for life. You are straight punishing yourself and just delaying time. You know what karmic debt Like you pay for the thoughts and actions in time, in feeling. You are who you are, and you are where you are because of what's gone into your mind and what's gone into your mouth. And as soon as you start changing what goes into your mind and what goes into your mouth, my friend, you start changing. And that in of itself is one of the most conscious, congruent, and positive things that you could possibly do for yourself.
What's the one thing you can do wrong in this potential outcome? Sit with your pain and don't use it as a sign to change. In other words, you can wallow in your negative emotion and not use it as a motivator or as a fuel. For those of you that don't know, in my corporate background, I'm in sales, and in all sales trainings, they teach you to look for one thing to make the sale, and it's pain. Why is that? Because pain brings change. When you are in pain, you are looking to change something, and when you are uncomfortable, you no longer want to be in that state. So, you could either just accept that you're in pain and sit with that discomfort every day, or you could listen to what your body is trying to tell you, which is the golden rule. Use it as fuel. Pain is a hell of a motivator to do anything. So if you're chronically inflamed, you're achy, you're hurting, you're overweight, you're sad, use that as fuel that leads you to do things that challenge you both mentally and physically. I love pushing myself physically through workouts and strenuous physical efforts, and I love pushing myself mentally to do things that are out of my comfort zone. That's why I'm a big fan of things like ice baths and saunas. For no other reason, you want to put the science to the side other than they suck. And when you get near one, your brain tells you to stay the hell away from it. So it's really your choice. Either sit with the pain and ignore it, or listen to what your body, your brain, and the universe is trying to tell you. Pain, anxiety, that is our body's natural, instinctive way of telling us to move, to change, to move forward, to progress. Listen to it. That's all you got to do is just listen to it.
Dang it. And wrapping up the mindset portion, number 3, believing your solution, what's going to save you, is out there in a form of supplement that your favorite influencer beautifully, carefully chose the packaging on and the wording on: collagen, amino acids, fat burners, and really believe that that's the solution, as compared to believing that all of these problems can actually be solved from what you already have inside of you. Instead of spending your money and going, I hope that me hitting add to cart, buying, ooh, nice Capital One texted me, I just paid for it, I can already feel more ripped. Let me save you the time. The answers are actually already inside of you. Your lifestyle and your body in of itself is already far more capable and powerful than you think. I think they're so powerful. A lot of us have even forgotten how powerful and important great sleep is, great nutrition is, a healthy mindset, and a great exercise regimen.
That was short and profound. The quicker we realize that this lies in our habits and our lifestyle and in our minds and not in a 45-day detox or a 30-day challenge, the quicker we can get where we want to be. Eliminate the outcome. What is it, that wonderful piece of advice you gave me? Detach yourself from an outcome. And when you
Mm-hmm.
assign timelines to things with challenges and detoxes, you're attaching yourself to that outcome. Detach yourself from the outcome and do what you know you need to do, and you'll be successful. And that leads us to the bow we want to put on the episode. We mentioned we had 10 commandments per se we wanted to share with you, but we've only shared 9. And here comes number 10. Yusuf, I'd like for you to explain this one because it was your idea. You brought it up, and I thought it was brilliant.
So at the very beginning of all of this is our purpose, is our why, but most importantly, there's something for most of us. Some people may be spiritual, some people may not be. I would say spirituality can just be the way that you relate to your life and the purpose and meaning that you give it. But all of this really, in essence, is just meant to enhance yourself so that you can live a greater quality life. And inside you, you have built-in indicators of truth, which is why these sins come off as regretful. Oh, I just ate all that stuff. I feel so bad afterwards. Oh, I just did that. I did nothing. I feel bad afterwards. All of these things, these are built-in indicators that are telling you the truth. These are internal notifications. You have to be listening to them with the ringer on.
Ooh, what a strong way to finish it out. Well said. I have absolutely nothing to add. Find your why, find your purpose, find your drive. Guys, it's that time. If you're with us still, it's the end of the
Fuck.
episode. We're going to keep the tradition going. Yusuf's watch is dead, so he's going to have to make an educated guess, which means if we're keeping tally, the score is now 2-0. I have you beat on steps yet again. It is 8:16, and I am at 15,195 steps. Everybody watching, if you beat me in the comments, I'll be really impressed. Drop your comment about where you're at, what time it is, and how many steps you have in the day. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please, please, please give it a review, subscribe to the channel on Spotify. It seriously does help us out. If you're watching us on YouTube, also subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like the video. Those pieces of engagement and interacting with the video help us more than you know. So, as always, we're grateful that you've tuned in for a third time. If you're with us for the first time, we're happy to have you and welcome. And we look forward to seeing you in episode 4.
Boom. Keep going.